My name's Daisy, an 18-year-old university student from Florida. Life hasn't been the smoothest ride. My parents divorced when I was 12, and I've lived with my mom ever since. Last year, I lost my dad to cancer. It was devastating. We were incredibly close. He left me a significant inheritance in his will, but I couldn't access it until I turned 18. This year, I finally hit that milestone. I thought turning 18 would be exciting, but I didn't expect the chaos that came with it. One afternoon, Arlo, my stepdad, called me into his room. He's in his mid-40s and has been married to my mom for 5 years. We've never gotten along well, though I've always tried to be civil. Arlo, on the other hand, has never made much effort to hide his dislike for me. "I need to talk to you about something important," he began, his tone unusually serious. I nodded cautiously. "What is it?" He hesitated for a moment before diving in. "It's about the money your dad left you. I think you should give it to David for his college tuition. He really needs it." David is Arlo's son from a previous marriage, a year older than me. We've never been close, but I don't hold anything against him. Still, the audacity of Arlo's request floored me. I blinked, stunned. "I don't think I can do that, Arlo. This money was my dad's. He left it to me for a reason." Arlo frowned. "Don't be selfish, Daisy. You don't need that money, but David does." I shook my head, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm sorry, but the answer is no." His expression darkened. "Daisy, don't push me." I held my ground. "I'm not trying to disrespect you, Arlo, but this isn't up for debate. You might not agree, but this is my decision, and I'm sticking to it." Arlo's face twisted with anger, but before he could say more, I walked out. That was when things escalated. "Don't walk away while I'm talking," he barked, following me down the hall. "You're being a bad sister. How can you be so selfish?" I turned to face him. "This isn't about being selfish, Arlo. It's about respecting my boundaries." Just then, David appeared, rubbing his eyes as if he'd just woken up. "What's going on? Why are you two arguing?" "Tell her, David," Arlo said quickly. "Tell her what we talked about." David scratched his head, looking confused. Right. The inheritance money. Daisy, you need to give it to us for that, important thing we discussed." I crossed my arms. "What important thing?" "The business," Arlo cut in, glaring at David. David blinked, clearly thrown off. "Oh, yeah, the business, that's what I meant." I frowned. "Wait, I thought this was about David's tuition?" "It is," Arlo interjected hastily. "The business is just part of the plan." Their story didn't add up, and I wasn't about to let them manipulate me. Nice try, but the answer is still no. Arlo's frustration boiled over. "You need to grow up and do the right thing, Daisy." I gave him a pointed look. "The right thing? You mean giving away my inheritance to fund whatever scheme you're cooking up? Not happening." Arlo's face turned red. "Don't you dare tell your mother about this." I smirked. "Why not? She deserves to know how I'm being treated." "She won't care," he shot back. "She'll just be mad at you for causing trouble." "Guess I'll take my chances," I said firmly. Arlo stormed off, muttering under his breath, but I wasn't rattled. His desperate attempts to guilt-trip me only confirmed my suspicions. Something shady was going on, and I wasn't about to let them drag me into it. "I need to know if you're serious about this money," I said, crossing my arms. "Yes, of course, I am," David replied, fidgeting nervously. "Really? And Bella, what about her? Is she serious too?" David froze, his expression shifting to confusion. "Bella? Who's Bella?" I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, you know, your college advisor, right?" Before David could respond, Arlo suddenly appeared in the doorway, startling us both. "Why are you interrogating my son?" he barked. "I wasn't interrogating him," I said calmly. "I was asking how my inheritance would be used." Arlo's eyes narrowed. "Once you give someone money, it's no longer yours, so, how it's used isn't your concern." I tilted my head, unfazed. "Is that really how you talk to someone who's considering helping you out financially?" Arlo's tone hardened. "Let me correct you, you're not considering anything. You are giving me that money, and if you don't, I'll kick you out of this house." David looked horrified. "Dad, that's not." "Shut up, David," Arlo snapped. "I'm the parent here. I make the rules. If she refuses, she can leave." I didn't respond right away, keeping my expression neutral as I reached into my pocket, ensuring my phone's recording app was still running. Without another word, I stood, locked eyes with Arlo, and left the room. Once in my room, I locked the door and began compiling everything I had against him, voice recordings, screenshots, anything I could find to back up my suspicions. It felt surreal, like I'd stepped into a crime drama. By the time I finished, I knew I had enough evidence to blow Arlo's schemes wide open. I grabbed my phone and called my mom. "Hi, sweetheart," she answered warmly. "How are you?" "Mom, are you sitting down?" Her tone shifted. "What's wrong?" "I have something bad to tell you, really bad." I laid everything out for her, the threats, the shady plans, and the recordings. At first, she tried to deny it, but when I played the audio for her, the reality hit hard. "Why would he say those things to you? Why would he do this to us?" she whispered, her voice cracking. "Because he's not who you thought he was," I said gently. "I'm sorry, Mom, but the man you married is a monster." There was a long pause before her voice hardened. "I'm coming home, right now. Stay in your room and keep that door locked." "Yes, ma'am. When I'm done with Arlo, he'll wish he'd never crossed us." Hearing that fire in her voice was a relief. My mom arrived a few hours later. As soon as she walked through the door, we hugged tightly, both of us on the verge of tears. She didn't waste any time. After listening to everything again and reviewing the evidence, she decided to hire a private investigator to dig deeper into Arlo's activities. A few days later, the PI's findings came in, and they were worse than either of us imagined. "Mom, what did they find?" I asked anxiously. She sighed, her expression grim. "Arlo's been planning to use a laundromat as a front for money laundering." My jaw dropped. "Seriously? That's insane." "There's more. Bella, this supposed advisor, isn't just a random acquaintance. She has a criminal record for drug-related offenses and has been arrested multiple times for conspiracy to sell illegal substances." I was stunned. "So, their business could involve drugs, too?" Mom nodded. "It's likely, but now that we know, we're going to put an end to this, tonight." That evening, we found Arlo and David in the living room, deep in discussion. "And if anyone asks, just say it's for college. The laundromat is just a cover." Arlo stopped mid-sentence when he saw us. "Hey, we were just talking about David's college plans," he said with an awkward laugh. Mom stepped forward, her voice cold as ice. "Cut the act, Arlo, it's over, we know everything." Arlo's smile faltered. "What are you talking about?" I held up my phone. "Smile for the camera. Get that thing out of my face," he snapped, lunging toward me. Mom stepped between us. "Touch her, and I'll make sure you regret it for the rest of your life." "You don't know anything," Arlo shouted. "Oh, we know plenty," Mom retorted. "We know about the laundromat, the money laundering, and Bella's little side hustle with drugs. And let's not forget your threats to my daughter." Arlo's face turned pale. "You went through my things?" "No, you idiot. We got a professional to do it." Mom shot back. "You're done, Arlo. You think you can prove anything? You have nothing." "Tell that to the police," I said, grinning as the sound of sirens filled the air. Arlo froze, his bravado crumbling. "Please, Rose, don't do this. I can explain." Mom leaned in, her voice dripping with contempt. "Save it for the judge, you pathetic excuse for a man." The police arrived moments later, and as Arlo was led away in handcuffs, I couldn't help but feel a sense of justice. The nightmare was finally over.